then it's mine. It's on me.
Give it to it.
That's right.
You're comfortable with that, aren't you? Because you know you're going to produce the receipts.
Yes.
We don't have, we are supportive. We're going to put it in writing, produce the receipts. I think where we get into the legal gray area, and this is where we have to be careful when we draft the policy, that I think we're walking on thin ice when we refuse to make payments that an elected official has to be. Because when Mike says make that payment, he is acutely aware that he has to account for every single penny. He's aware of that, and he's comfortable doing that. Leah, you're comfortable with that, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Rick?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We just end up paying more in finance charges and different things like that because the payments are held up.
All right. Dave?
And I have
Why,
no problems with mine.
we're sitting here, the people out here, and I've worked for big companies where they wouldn't even, I've worked for big companies where they wouldn't even give you a credit card. You had to use your own and turn in for reimbursements. That's okay. What I'm struggling here to understand is, anybody that's worked for a big company, you turn in an expense report. And if there's no receipts to go with the expense report, it doesn't get paid. And I still, for the life of me, sit here and listen to this conversation going, big companies run, and I'll pick on Leah for a minute. If you turn in a credit card bill and it doesn't have the receipts with it, why would you expect it to be paid? I would say the same thing to Mike. Mike at least said that if he turns one in and is missing a receipt, I put a letter with it. But your policy, which should be easy to do, is write a policy. Why would you turn in a bill to be paid without the receipts? And then I would ask you commissioners, why would you sign bills to be paid without the receipts? I have to sign bills at the company I work for every week. And if there's no receipts, it's not going to get paid.
But just for clarification, David, the bill comes here. My receipts.
Leah, that's your problem, not their problem. You have the receipts.
Hold on a second. We're not going to have...
No, okay, I understand.
The law says that I have no right to refuse, by the letter of the law, if he submits it for payment and there's an unappropriated budget balance, I have no choice but to approve it, by the law.
But you can also but you also have policies for payments on all kinds of other bills.
I can't implement a policy that's a violation of state law. We spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 about 2 years ago. You remember this, don't you, Mike? To have this very point driven home.
And I think that point is different in this case, because in that particular case, were we not cutting a budget that was already approved? It wasn't, we were telling them they couldn't spend money that we had already approved. Okay?
Right, but
we took the money away.
expounded on that ruling.
Okay, but if the county has a policy of paying credit cards, you know, here's the thing. If they don't like the credit card policy, then don't give the elected officials county credit cards. You know, the credit cards are in the county's name, correct? Is there a statute that says we must give elected or county people credit cards?
Do we, we're 7 months into this year, do we have a penny that has been spent that is not backed up by a receipt or unaccounted for?
I would hope not.
No.
The people are asking for accountability. There it is. We're 7 months in. We have a receipt for every expenditure that's been made. Why are we?
But,
What's
you know,
our issue?
I don't know if you've ever looked at, like, the state of Missouri has a credit card policy, and it specifically spells out, you know, what kind of things will not be paid for.
You'll get no argument that we need a written credit card policy. We've had that discussion before. We need a written credit card policy. We will have a written credit card policy. But our written credit card policy has to adhere to the statutes, because I love to draw on, you know, take Fletcher for instance. He spent a lot of time in private industry. People are saying, well, I did this in private industry. In private industry, you have a business, there are not 10 or 15 or however many elected officials that we have that have autonomy over their you know, that have the type of power that these elected officials have. Anything Mike does is tempered by oversight from the auditor, from the commissioner, whatever. Anything the commission does is tempered by this person and that person. Anything this person does is tempered by this one and that one. So we can only pull out of private industry so far. And the only point I'm making is we're getting receipts. We're accounting for the money. We need a credit card policy. It just has to be written within the confines of the statute. Because guess what? If I write a policy and try to enforce it, that is infringing upon the rights of one of the elected officials, we're gonna end right back up in court, and we're gonna invest another $20,000 to prove what the law has told us already.
Well, I think you could be very safe in following, you know, the state's policy as a guideline, because the state certainly isn't breaking any statutes or infringing on any officials.
They're abiding by state statute. We have to compare that against county statute, because you know the laws that apply to the state do not apply exactly to the counties. It has to come straight out of county statute. We're in 100% agreement there. Maybe that's probably the template that we start with. But to have people thinking that we're spending money without receipts, it hasn't happened.
Well, you are approving bills that come through for payment without receipts. You have done that.
Right, because that's
I
what
have
the
been the
law
one that has
says.
stopped that. I'm the one that says, no, I want to see a receipt. So, you know,
And how many, let's throw out Leah's receipts, because quite frankly, you say you don't remember what she was talking about. I remember the great receipt chase of earlier this year, and at some point, somebody found it on their desk. Let's throw out her receipts. How many, if you had to hazard a guess, how many requests for receipts do you think you've made?
oh, several. 20?
Okay, 20? And now, excluding Leah's, you've gotten all 20, correct?
Right now, I'm still waiting on some. They're gonna go through this AP process.
Okay,
I'm still waiting.
let's say first 6 months of the year, every receipt you've requested, you've received.
I believe so. Well, there have been some payments that didn't get made because I didn't get receipts.
Right. But you eventually got the receipt.
No, there's some that I never did get a receipt on, so they never did get paid.
And just a minute ago, I said, if we paid anything that didn't have a receipt to back it up, it was unaccounted for, and you said,
Right, we didn't pay it. You asked, did we pay anything that didn't have a receipt? We didn't pay it.
so you have a handful now that you've asked for a receipt and not gotten it.
Well, it's probably not a handful, it's probably just 2 or 3.
Okay, 2 or 3. Can we pinpoint those particular ones?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're Margie's, aren't they? 911?
Margie told me yesterday that she found what I needed on those.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, but she
Okay.
said she has it. So.
But people are doing their due diligence to find these receipts.
For the most part. I still have, a few issues with certain individuals that don't want to cooperate with that.
Just to clear the record, am I one of those? Thank you. My name kept getting thrown out here, I just want to make sure.
Right. Yes, sir.
If I may make a recommendation, I mean, sitting in the galley, it seems like an easy thing, is each elected official who has their credit cards must, whose ever office, Mike, Leah's, the treasurer, pick any of the clerk, why they don't save their bills, and I mean, that's what we do at my work. We put the bills in the folder. When the Visa bill comes, we reconcile the statement. We can't submit it for payment until the bills reconcile with the statement. I mean, it seems so simple. And if you're giving each elected official this caveat to do whatever, fine. They want a credit card, they have a credit card. But don't expect it. I mean, I don't know why you as a commission would approve bills that don't have the actual receipts with it, because you're just asking for trouble. And if it's 1 this year, you go, okay, 10's okay. Is next year 100 okay? Each elected official, they're responsible for their own budget. If they want the money to come out of their budget, you got to turn the receipts in with your credit card. It seems simple.
The sheriff does do that, by the way.
It's simple, and
Everyone wants to know.
we are executing that with few exceptions. I mean, we don't have perfection. We have to look for a few receipts.
Would you? But I'm hearing that the commission approves bills or approves credit card payments without bills. Would you do that with your own money?
I am abiding by the law, David.
Okay.
The law says that I sign off that there's an unappropriated balance or there's an appropriated balance, and that we have money in the bank.
So I'm gonna throw this back at you then. So if you get, obviously you look at the credit card bills when they come, correct? So if you see XXX porn on there and some elected official put that on there, you're gonna approve it for payment?
No.
But why not? You just said the elected official, if they submit it, obviously if they submitted it for payment, there's already a signature there. They're giving it to the commission. Now you're saying you can judge. Which is it? You can either look at it and make a judgment call, or you can't.
Legally, he can't judge.
I
And
can't
then it
judge, but here's
comes
the
back
deal.
on the
I look
elected
at this,
official. I mean,
and,
it's not, it's just the way.
Had a credit card bill with a whole string of, you could see where the transport guys had gone from, they were down in Arkansas, they were down in Mississippi, they made a big loop, and they came back.
I understand the common sense.
I know that I have transport, Mike has transport guys down there, but now I see this XXX porn you're talking about, at which point
Red flag.
I have the right to say, Mike, you got some XXX porn on here, tell me it's an undercover thing, but by the law. Now, this is a thing that needs to be stressed. When I walk in the door, my personal philosophy has to take second place to the law. And the law says if he submits a bill for XXX porn, and if we have money in the bank.
But I can't understand the contradiction because just a while ago you said, they submit it, we sign it because we can't question it. And then you say, oh, now if I see there's something that I don't agree, I'm gonna go back and question it.
We can question it, we can't stop it.
Okay.
I can't stop it, Dave. Believe me, if I saw XXX porn, I would love to say, do not pay that. But then,
But you have to question it.
yeah,
And then wouldn't we say, actually the taxpayers are saying, then let's question everything that doesn't have a receipt. That's all we're asking is,
and we're questioning, give us the receipts, and we're getting the receipts.
okay.
We've got a mountain made out of a molehill here. I mean, if we counted how many charges are on Visa bills and how many receipts are we missing, the percentage is small.
Well, I would
try as we may, policy or not, we're never going to bat 1,000.
There is no such thing as perfection.
Exactly.
I agree. I would argue that the time we've wasted discussing this, that a policy could be written and, you move the next step. That would be the,
Absolutely.
but you hold,
Policy would probably make things run smoother, and like in this case, because you are hearing obviously just this specific scenario, what happens with the county credit card bill, David, is that my receipts that they're talking about right now were from a conference in April. So when I get back, receipts are submitted. I don't see the bill, it comes in. Then when she reconciles the April bill, evidently now in July, she's looking for receipts.
but we would argue that the person should be reconciling the bill would be your department, not the
But
auditor.
it doesn't, it's only one, it
She's
comes
turning
here.
turning in the receipts before the bill arrives.
Right, because the bill comes, they're credit cards that are delved out, I guess, and the bill comes here. I don't
She
have to
doesn't have
see
her
it.
own.
I understand that, but that's not fair to the poor person, let's call it Ellen, sitting there getting credit card receipts from 20 different people trying to reconcile it with 5 different Visa bills. I mean, and that goes back to the reason we need a
And
policy.
Ellen has told me, yes, she gets the bill, but she just sends it over to Leah, and then that's where Leah is supposed to connect her receipts to it, approve it for payment, and send it back to Ellen McKee for AP.
And we solve that by saying, Leah, keep your receipts until you get the bill.
Correct,
Next issue.
but that wasn't initially the protocol. I just would say okay on the bill and send it back over because I knew the receipts were already here. So it wasn't, there just wasn't a streamlined fashion. Before, I was using my own personal credit card, and those things were getting denied because, for example, my husband made my room reservation. So since the room reservation was under my husband's name, for whatever reason, the county couldn't pay that when I was out of town on business because it didn't say my name. So there were things like that that I was running into, which is why using a county card seems like an easier fit. It took 4 or 5 months to get reimbursement.
I don't know, but very simply, people keep turning in your receipts.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had an issue with that.
How does Ellen then, let's keep going with the turn in the receipts. How does Ellen know what to charge it to? I mean, this goes back to,
She's gonna keep the receipts until she gets the bill.
but she just said, but she's not gonna get the bill. I mean,
We're
that's,
changing that.
okay, that's backward.
She gets the bill.
It goes
now.
all back to a policy because
It
the
goes
elected
back.
official knows where they want to charge the money to.
Right.
You know, it's their budget, their different line